it has been, a febrile time for the tourist trade. Lots and lots of, big news stories, across the globe. Just break things down for me a bit. Where are you actually seeing the practical effects of news headlines hitting the tourist trade?
Well, it's having a big impact on where people are travelling. So at World Travel Market London, there'll be 182 countries and regions all coming together to basically sign £3 billion worth of business deals. And those deals are effectively where we all go on holiday next year and beyond. So you're seeing the different events taking place in the news. So be that as an example, Trump's election and his impact and the perspective that's put on the tourism industry for America, alongside terrorism incidents, alongside refugee crises and all that type of stuff, just having a mass impact on the flows and the way that people go to. So as an example, with the US, and the US is still a really popular destination, but we've seen that Mexico, particularly Cancun, has really seemed to have benefited as more people seem to be going over there. Same with Canada and the Canadian cities. And then as you get closer to home within Europe, or North Africa, and the issues that, say, Egypt and Tunisia have had, that's had a really strong knock-on effect to places like Greece and Italy and Spain as well.
And are you seeing the same kind of volumes of people going abroad on holiday at the moment? Because, I mean, even with all of the news stories that might perhaps be making people change where they head on holiday, we've also seen a weakened pound. People are getting less for their money.
Yeah, and that's seen, from an inbound UK perspective, seen so many more travellers come over. So UK inbound and the UK tourism industry have really benefited for that kind of the weak pound post-Brexit. But as far as the outbound industry is concerned, it's had no impact at all on the numbers of people travelling. In fact, the number of people travelling abroad has gone up and will continue to go up. What you'll find is that people will just, think a bit more about how they're spending money in resort, how much money they're going to spend. So a trend that we saw, particularly post from the recession, was that the travel companies were putting on more all-inclusive holidays. So that's something that's continued again as the pound's weakened. People are thinking about the amount of money that they'll have to spend in resort, and if they know they're on an all-inclusive holiday, then they're able to budget their spending a lot more.
How reactive can companies be, or how quickly can they be reactive? As you say, World Travel Markets, lots of businesses coming together to talk through the current trends. But as we've seen, firms presumably have to react much more quickly now as news becomes ever more immediate.
Oh, without question, you'd be surprised at how quick the travel industry is able to react. So, moving flight capacity from one destination to another, increasing it. So Spain being the perfect example. Last summer, Spain really benefited from the problems that Tunisia and Egypt had as an example. So much more flight capacity was put into Spain. So more of us could go on holiday in Spain. And this year you'll see that now that Tunisia is open for business again, the UK government is allowing flights to go direct from the UK into Tunisia, that more and more flight capacity is being moved back into Tunisia, and that we've seen from our own research there that Tunisia looks set to benefit this year as it is really looking to sign deals with within the industry to get more tourists coming over. So the flexibility the industry has is quite astounding, to be honest.
Looking ahead to March 2019, Brexit, a massive topic for us. That's the end of the Article 50 negotiations, and there's increasing talks of the risk of crashing out of those without a deal, which would mean that UK planes risk not being able to fly over EU airspace. We've seen some travel companies, Thomas Cook springs to mind, building that into contracts as a potential risk. Is this something that you're seeing chatter about?
There's definitely chatter and concern about it. Yeah, I mean, there's so much uncertainty for all industries, really, as far as Brexit's concerned, but particularly for the travel industry, so much travel legislation is it's really cemented in EU legislation. So there's package holiday directives, there's legislation called the TOM scheme, which is about tour operators' margin, so what percentage of VAT they pay on the holidays that they put together. So much of the legislation is linked to Europe. So there's definitely chatter, there's definitely uncertainty. But I think at the same time, we all have to realise that, the amount of money that UK holidaymakers bring into, if you like, the EU tourism industry, the value that we bring from that perspective, I don't think we can see I just don't see it being an issue once we actually do leave the European Union. But there's definitely chatter, and of course there's concern. And like Thomas Cook, all the other travel companies will be, mitigating against that potential.
Finally, then, Paul, and we've touched on it slightly, but what are your predictions for the next couple of years? I obviously don't mean in terms of what news we might be seeing, but just looking at the tourist firms that you'll be hearing from over the event. What are the things which are particularly on the agenda?
I mean, Brexit is without question one of the key issues that are on the agenda, and all the legislation that links into that. And I mean, pretty much the travel industry is continuing to grow. So we polled our 50,000 delegates that all come along to sign the deals, and 3/4 of them are confident that the industry will grow. And you've got 8 out of 10 that are confident that their company will grow. So there's lots of positivity within the industry. More and more people are travelling. It's just in effect where they travel. So those countries that we would anticipate, particularly next year, would do particularly well will be, as I've said, Greece, Italy, Spain, Tunisia from a short haul perspective, Mexico, Canada. The US is still very, very popular, despite the fact that, what's the impact with the news and Trump, etc. The US is still going to be one of the most popular destinations to travel to. So it's just, people are still continuing to travel. They'll continue to travel in increased numbers. It's just that flexibility as to where they're going to travel to that will be different. And that's effectively why, as I say, 50,000 people are coming into World Travel Market London in a couple of weeks' time to sign those £3 billion worth of deals to effectively decide where we all go on holiday.
Nice one. Paul Nelson from World Travel Market, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning.
Great.
Paul, hope the rest of the interviews go as well.
Great, thanks very much.
Good to speak to you. Take care.